Hey everyone, it's Chris Braverman, and have I got some cool news to share with you. Well, over the weekend, I met someone, and that someone just so happened to be this guy right here, the immortal Hulk Hogan, former WCW World Heavyweight Champion, former WWF Champion, WWE Champion, blah blah blah. Anyhow, yeah, I met him. We met him at Hogan's beach shop, his store out in Clearwater, Florida. My children and my wife and I were actually on vacation there for about 2 weeks. We were in town for some boat shows, some boat races, and whatnot, and then we stumbled coincidentally upon Hogan's beach shop one weekend. We found out he was doing a signing on October 1st, so we were supposed to head back home to New York before the signing, but I extended our stay because I was like, we have to meet the Hulkster. He's the biggest icon in wrestling. Well, if you saw WCW, they would play that, little quote there during his entrance music. But yeah, he is, period, the biggest icon in wrestling, the biggest name in professional wrestling. Hulk Hogan, everyone and their mother knows who Hulk Hogan is. Even if you didn't watch wrestling, you know who he was because he was all over the media. I mean, he is a pop culture icon. So anyhow, the biggest wrestler in the world, he rarely does any signings. And even when we went to the signing, his staff was mentioning that he does it probably once a year at his shop. And yeah, he makes rare signing appearances. So had to meet the Hulkster. For my son as well, it was a bigger deal for my son. I wanted my son to have a picture with Hogan, meet him, blah, blah, blah. And so we did. We met Hulk Hogan, and it was awesome. So I got this signed for me. A Hulk Hogan photo. Hulk still rolls. And yeah, he does roll. Thank you for that, Mr. Hogan. And my son got his Defining Moments Hulk Hogan action figure signed, which is pretty awesome. So now if you look at the Hogan figure, for those collectors out there, those who have this figure, he's missing something. So he's missing the old WWF title, not that one, but the one prior to it. And he's missing his headband, the Hulk Hogan bandana that you see there. He's missing that. I actually lost the Hulk Hogan bandana. Sorry to say. Yeah, I know, boo. I know. Me too. I lost it, but that's what's left of the figure. So he's got the cross right there. He's got the shirt, the Hulkamania shirt, and the WWF World title. My favorite WWF World title. So yeah, cool story. Hogan actually asked me because he knows the figure. He has it in his shop, so I'm sure he's run into it a bunch of times. He asked me, is this a different figure? And I explained to him, no, it's the same figure. I'm just missing the headband, and I replaced the title. Well, he noticed that the title was missing, so I just told him that I repacked it that way. He thought it was pretty cool. That he had never seen it like that. Makes sense, because I bet he doesn't collect figures, but yeah, so I repacked it like that. He thought it was cool. So thank you, Hogan, for saying that to me. I appreciate it, dude. And thank you for the autograph for my son. So now, this figure has come out of the box before, so my son could play with it. That was before we picked up the basic figure. And now, it's never coming out of the packaging. Yeah, I told my son we're going to keep it in there. He doesn't understand why, because he's only 4 years old. But we're going to keep it in here from now. There's nothing wrong with the figure at all. It doesn't have loose joints, nothing like that. It doesn't have any marks, any scratches, any wear and tear, nothing like that. It's in perfect condition. Even if he played with it, still in perfect condition. So the package is staying in there, and I explained to him that Hulk Hogan said that it has to stay in there. Hogan didn't really say that, but I said that, so that way he can be fearful and not want to touch the figure. So yeah, that figure's not coming out, and my son will only play with the basic Hogan figure from now on, unless I purchase another DM Hogan figure down the line. Anyhow, so yeah, my wife and my kids and I, we all went. My wife initially didn't want to get a photo or get his autograph, but yeah, she's not a big wrestling fan. But she knows who Hogan is. She saw Hogan Knows Best back in 2005, 2006, whenever it was on VH1 or wherever it was playing. She saw that and she got to know him a little more by that, but she was never a wrestling fan. So I explained to her about the signing. She was thrilled about it for the kids, but she didn't want to get a photo with him. So I explained more in depth. I was like, Hogan is a pop culture icon, honey. He's the biggest name in pro wrestling. Next to The Rock, of course. The Rock's possibly the biggest. One of the biggest. Well, you know, The Rock's a big movie star. I think he's worth more than Hogan right now. But yeah, the biggest name before The Rock was even born. Well, not born, but before The Rock became a big name was this guy, Hulk Hogan. I explained to her, you know, his accomplishments in wrestling, his movies, the stuff he's got going on outside of wrestling or had going on. I explained to her that he's the leader. Was the leader, one of the founding fathers of the NWO, the New World Order, along these guys right here, Hall and Nash, one of the most revolutionary forces in pro wrestling. And yeah, so after that, she was thrilled. When we got on the line, she became even more thrilled. It finally processed in her, and she became excited that when she met Hogan, she was all smiles, no complaints whatsoever. She was very happy. And, you know, she didn't regret it at all. So we got to meet Hogan, and it was awesome. So I'm going to share something with you guys right now. It's a video from when Hogan arrived at his beach shop. He came in his own car. It was an Escalade. He drove it himself. Some fan on the line with us, he mentioned that it was Hogan. I didn't believe it was him. My wife did, so she went into the street to go film him getting out. I told her, honey, get out of the street. You know, there's cars passing and they might hit you. So a mob started forming, waiting in line. Well, waiting on the street in line for Hogan to get out of his car, which was supposedly Hulk Hogan in the car. Of course, I didn't believe it. Some car, well, that mob, they started blocking the cars that were passing. So there was a car with a woman driver behind my wife and a few other dudes were blocking her from passing. That female driver started honking at my wife, even got mad, you know, told her to, you know, get out of the way. And then, fortunately, at that moment, the Hulkster came out of the car. My wife pointed at him to the female driver, and the female driver went bananas. She started screaming. She became overjoyed. She apologized to my wife. She said, I'm sorry. And then she started taking pictures of Hogan from far. Of course, she couldn't take a picture with him because she didn't have tickets for the signing. But, yeah, so female driver, whoever you were, you know, have patience, please. I'm sorry my wife was blocking your way. We shouldn't have been doing that, but it was a once-in-a-lifetime moment to get to see Hogan pull up and get out of his car. Well, anyway, we have that on video. I don't know if we have the female driver, you know, interacting with my wife, but you'll hear the horn, I'm sure. But my wife captured Hogan getting out of the car, and it was, you know, a show. The dude started posing and whatnot. It was like, you couldn't believe it. It was like watching him on WWE TV. The guy's an entertainer. He knows how to, you know, get to the fans. He knows how to, you know, draw a crowd, draw a reaction. Hogan is the man. You know, that's all I'll say about him. So let me show you that footage of Hogan getting out of the car, and I'll show you photos of my kids with Hulkster himself.
That's always wrestling. You do that. Oh, we're not those guys anymore. We're these guys.
That's on them. That's on them. That's Hulk Hogan right there. That's Hogan. Come on, get out.
So that was the video of Hogan getting out of his car, and like I said, it was a show. Very much a show. Everyone went bananas for him. And now let me show you some photos of my children with the Hulkster. Here's my son online with his New World Order t-shirt, waiting to meet the Hulkster. Then over here, we've got the Hulkster and my baby boy. Beautiful moment. That's his wife back there. Pretty cool. So Hogan and my boy right there. And then over here, what's this one? Oh, my daughter, my princess with the Hulkster. Here's a pretty cool dude, very nice to my kids. And then this is another photo of my daughter and Hogan. And yes, that's his autograph. He signed. My wife took that photo on her iPad. So, cool story. Hogan didn't know that you can sign on the actual photo. I guess my wife has some app or something. I don't know exactly either. But Hogan and his wife were baffled. I was like, well, you can sign on the iPad? Hogan was going to sign on my wife's iPad with his marker. And then his wife told him, no, you're going to mess it up. You're going to scratch it up. Please don't do that. My wife would have been cool with it. But anyhow, my wife explained to him, no, you just use your finger. So Hogan actually touched my iPad. He grabbed it and he signed it with his finger. That's his actual signature right there. So that's the actual photo that my wife took with the iPad, and after she was done taking that photo, Hogan grabbed the iPad and he signed the actual photo. So that's pretty cool. You know, we amused Hulk Hogan with that trick. He thought it was cool. He didn't know that you could do that. His wife either. They were both surprised. And they thought it was a pretty cool trick. And well, that's it, guys. I just wanted to share that with you. It was a pretty cool moment in our lives. It's a memory I got to share with my children forever. We met the biggest name in professional wrestling, the icon, the legend, the immortal Hulk Hogan. We got 3 autographs from him. I'm gonna blow these up, frame them, and put them in my son's room and my daughter's room collectively, or excuse me, respectively. And then I'll make copies so that way I can place either in my gym or my office. But yeah, it was pretty awesome. He also took pictures with my wife and myself, but my kids are better looking than we are, so we'll save those photos for another time. Anyhow, thank you guys so much for watching. I was very happy to share my experience meeting the Hulkster. Hope you guys have a story. Hope you guys have a story to share with me in the comment box below. If you've ever met the Hulkster or any other professional wrestler, let me know who it was and how it went. If you even want to comment on this video and my experience with Hogan, please go ahead. We'll talk about it. Let me know in the comment box below. And before I sign off, big thank you to Hogan's Beach staff. They're all beautiful people. Literally, they're all like beautiful people, very good looking people. And they were nice, very nice to everyone there, and especially to myself and my children. There was a staff member, a female staff member, who made my son's shirt like that. That shirt actually belongs to my wife, so it's a bigger shirt. And that staff member fixed it up for my son. She tied it in a knot, make sure he wasn't sweaty, make sure it wasn't making him uncomfortable or anything like that. She interacted with my son, gave him a high five. There was another staff member who came out and she stood next to my son and hugged him. I don't know why. She just came out of the room where Hogan was. She was hot, sweaty. She stood next to my son. She bent over, kneeled over, and in a kneeling position was next to my son, and she gave him a hug. Don't know why. We never met. She doesn't know my son. We don't know her, but she gave him a hug. She interacted with my son. My son gave her a kiss on the cheek, and she was so happy and very nice. So anyway, yeah, thank you, Hogan's Beach staff, for being so awesome. Hogan, take care of your staff because they're really good people. God bless you guys. God bless Hogan's Beach. God bless Hogan's staff. God bless Hulk Hogan. Thank you for the memory, sir. And thank you guys, YouTube viewers, for watching my video. I very much appreciate it. See you guys soon. Brother.